The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Coming up this evening, former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis has a stinging assessment of the Davis administration's performance over the past 4 years. We hear from him. Also tonight, opposition leader Michael Pintard says he is ready to lead the nation. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Davis says his administration is considering a temporary ban on issuing visas to Haitians. I know many of you would be interested in hearing more about that. And then a little bit later, quite a number of Bahamians happy tonight after being given the title to the land they have lived on for years. It's all straight ahead for you this evening. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Well, tonight, former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis is calling the Davis administration a disaster. This as the Progressive Liberal Party celebrates 4 years in office after a crushing defeat at the polls for Minnis and his administration. Now, while many argue that the PLP could win a second term, Dr. Minnis contends that his administration has failed, meaning this one, the Bahamian people.
Governments, politicians, members of parliament should concentrate on the people. Listen to the people. Listen to their cry. And the people make a decision as to which is best. But I think this government is a disaster. Then let's look at more promises. Airport for Grand Bahama, where is it? Hotel for Grand Bahama, where is it? New prison, where is it? New parliament, where is it? New hospital, where is it? This is a government of promises. Promise, 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 promise. Action, nothing. Then they're bragging about the number of tourist arrivals at the cruise port. The port was built under us. They're bragging about the Wi-Fi at the parks. That was instituted under us. They're bragging about the lunch program. That was our program. And I urged them to go further because they're only taking one step. We were going further. They're bragging about the SPDC. That's us. And one of the worst things they've done to the average individual, they've canceled the inner city tax-free zone when many jobs were created. Millions of dollars were added to the revenue as a result of new job creations, new entrepreneurs.
Wow, this is, I tell you, already discussing, quite frankly. The Davis administration touted great successes over the past 4 years, including that same school breakfast program that served, get this, for the past 4 years, over 1 million meals. And the Small Business Development Center. Dr. Minnis says much of those accomplishments, you heard him a minute ago, ride on the coattails of his administration. Well, I want to hear exactly what the Hot Topics panel feel and what they think about that and how Dr. Minnis came out swinging. You know, he ain't come just strolling. He came out swinging. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines, BTH contributors Leslie Miller and Howard Johnson. Good evening to both of you.
Good evening, Shane. Good evening, Bahamas. Pleasure to be here.
Good evening, Bahamas.
Gentlemen, your thoughts on former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis and the fact that he said, listen, no, not so fast, PLP and Davis administration. You all don't look so rosy, and here's why. Leslie?
Oh, I thought for a moment that Dr. Minnis was running as the former Prime Minister and he was the leader of the opposition. Get ready for a general election. I mean, he talked of everything that his administration would have done the 4 years they were there. And what Mr. Davis and those did not do. There was 1 million kids that got a free lunch meal over the last 4 years. On
1 million meals, yes.
And he's taking credit for it, that they initiated that. I'm not aware in my memory, when this plan was initiated by the F&M government. He also claimed that the small business situation was done by his team. I don't know how many great successes they've had, although they've given a hell of a lot of money over the years. But one of the problems that his government had, which is basically the same that the government in power now has, they keep overlooking those light industries that are in the Bahamas now that the government fails to support. You know, you're trying to get into new areas, but you're not looking at what is already there. You're talking about expanding the economy, and industries that could assist in the expansion and diversification of the economy is not being considered by civil servants and those who has the power to make a difference. In fact, they have degraded local industries in this country over the last 10 years, over the last 20 years. Both governments have left us in the dust. When we formed the Development Corporation in '74, and we then came and formed the Light Industries Development Council in 1983, that was the full aim of trying to diversify and expand our base and create import substitution entities in our country for Bahamians to feel proud that they are good entrepreneurs and to discontinue the total reliance on foreign goods. But that has failed us. I hate to say I was one of the principals in putting that together. And, you know, the political season is on now. So all that the government would have accomplished is going to be denigrated for political purposes.
But do you agree with him? Because outside of his government and this one, according to you, and the one before that, not supporting light industries, do you agree with what else he said?
The F&M administration came with this policy that a foreigner could come to the Bahamas with $250,000 investment. $250,000 now, an investment. And if they don't hear from immigration in 3 months, they could bring in their staff to help run their business. Now, what the hell is $250,000? That's a drop in the bucket for industry. What do you mean
they could bring in their? You mean the foreigner could come in with $250,000?
Yes.
And if immigration takes 3 months, they could then bring in their staff?
Bring them in.
To do what?
To run their business. That's what they implemented. And they also had them involved in those sectors of society, our economic structure that was reserved exclusively for Bahamians. That's why you got a situation down in Bimini, not Bimini, in Harbour Island, with a young man raising hell that him and this American guy now owes inland revenue over $1 million and trying to push the load on the young fella because he was fronting for him. Look at Bay Street today. Look how they run most of the jewelry stores down there are not Bahamians. You know, and when you look at what his government placed on the backs of the average ordinary Bahamian during COVID, I mean, it was sinful. If Dr. Minnis had gone on the streets during the last general election, the campaign, I was very scared that he would have gotten away. That's the feeling, the ill feeling that the average Bahamian had for him. We caught hell during COVID, you know, that came under him. I mean, you know, these guys were gods. What a term he used to use, what the hell he was?
The competent authority.
The competent authority.
Howard, do you...
I still don't understand what that means, except maybe in darkest Africa, some of them little fellas who take over their country with 1,000 people could come with this competent authority.
Leslie, it was the
But nobody knew the competent authority. What was the competent authority?
Somebody who has the final say.
Who have what?
Has the final say.
But we had never heard that phrase before.
Well, we never had
in our lifetime. So you got an old Lightfoot Key somewhere. Maybe one fellas from South Africa somewhere.
But we never had a patent, and Lord, let us never experience it again.
So why was the competent authority injected into our vocabulary during that time frame?
How would you...
Look at the situation with the food. You got, 90% of black Bahamians in the country. And it took some people out of Lightfoot Key to give them $50 million to spend to give Bahamians food.
Maybe he felt...
That was disgraceful.
Maybe he felt they were better able to manage all that money.
They haven't given an account yet for the damn money. I bet they were. They refused to give an account.
Howard, your thoughts on Dr. Minnis, former Prime Minister, giving his assessment on this present administration's performance?
Well, like Leslie said, it seemed like Dr. Minnis was the leader of the opposition and the leader of a major political party today, because he came out and he ain't had no kitty gloves on. He had the big boy gloves on today. Yeah. And, you know, Dr. Minnis, for all intents and purposes, is an opposition politician, and he's a former prime minister. And the party that Prime Minister Davis is the head of, and the government that he heads, well, Dr. Minnis isn't in that party. So as this season progresses, like Leslie said, you are going to hear the gloves coming off more and more. But some of the language that Dr. Minnis used today is a double-edged sword for him. Before we came on the show, I looked at the article on the social media of one of the news dailies that had Dr. Minnis's comments. And let me tell you something. At that point, there were 102 comments, and he was unceremoniously getting the beat down in the comments because people were saying, you know, you were in the chair, Dr. Minnis, and you weren't listening to the people. You weren't doing what we needed you to do. You weren't minding our business. You were doing what you wanted to do. And so it's a double-edged sword for Dr. Minnis, Shanique, because some of the very same things he is being critical, to be quite frank, some of the very same things that he is being critical about with Prime Minister Davis, really and truly, he can get beat with that same stick for some of the decisions that he would have made during his administration from 2017 to 2021.
Quite interesting. As you said, he is an opposition politician now, and obviously seeking re-election as well. And so this is one of the, I guess, assessments on this administration's performance in the past 4 years. We'll get this, gentlemen. With less than a year until the general election, Prime Minister Davis will be working hard to be re-elected, or making way for opposition leader Michael Pintard, who could become the nation's 6th prime minister. And with that possibility comes intense scrutiny on whether or not Pintard is ready. We asked the Marco City Member of Parliament how he handles questions about stepping into the country's top job.
I represent Marco City. I believe my reputation in my constituency is infinitely better than his as somebody who's a closer, who's able to produce, who in the aftermath of Matthew and Dorian, I did life with the people who I represented, PLPs and FNMs equally. We worked beyond the tribalism to pull together NGOs, people from all political sides, to work in the interest of restoring normalcy for residents. The residual impact of hurricanes can still be seen in the constituency that he represented, even though he was the Minister of Works, even though he was a Deputy Prime Minister. And so when you want to ask about qualification, I'm saying in a shorter period of time, I've developed a footprint in a constituency that I've represented now only for 9 years, or less than 9. There's 4.5 with us and there's 4 with them, right? So again, the Prime Minister cannot boast of that. I'm no less qualified than the Prime Minister. Associate's degree, bachelor's degree, anti-money laundering and compliance certification, but that's less important as what is it you have done to improve the quality of life of our people. And I'm suggesting to you, the Prime Minister track record is woefully lacking in that regard.
Well, there you have it. Opposition leader Michael Pintard says, listen, he comes to the table armed and ready. Pintard has led the Free National Movement since 2021 and has represented Marco City in Grand Bahama since 2017. Now, of course, he has served as Minister of Agriculture and Marine Resources from 2018 to 2021. Now, Pintard says he is more qualified than Prime Minister Davis, as you heard, and he stands on that, or even giving his, remember when it was a big deal about he's a poet? Well, he took tonight to say, listen, bachelor's, associates, bachelor's, certifications, all this stuff. Gentlemen, jump in. Jump in about the opposition leader's response to whether or not he is ready, and I guess also some of his track record. Howard, jump in.
Yeah, well, Shanique, I've known Michael Pintard for almost 30 years now. I've worked with him and I've worked for him. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows, you know, from whence I came politically. And I can tell you, Michael Pintard is a man who is great at organizing. He has a serious work ethic. You can't outwork this gentleman. No one, however, is prepared to be prime minister. I don't care if you were an MP, a cabinet minister, the top job in the country, head of government and head of state. I don't care what political resume you have or what track record you have. that is a monster of a job. And no one has the qualifications or is adequately prepared to lead until you get in that job, if you understand what I'm saying. And so what Michael Pintard is saying is, I'm as qualified as anybody else. If he meets the criteria and his party made him the leader and he is in the House of Assembly, then he is qualified to be the Prime Minister of the Bahamas, as is Mr. Davis, who is sitting in the chair currently, Mr. Christie, Mr. Ingram, and the late Sir Lyndon Pinland. All of them met the criteria to be the leader of the opposition. Their party won the majority of seats at the election, which made them the Prime Minister. And if Michael Pintard meets that criteria, he will be the Prime Minister as well.
But why did you leave out Dr. Minnis? You forgot him, huh?
Oh, and Dr. Minnis met the criteria as well. And so all of these gentlemen became Prime Minister because they had met the criteria. I'm a member of Parliament, I lead my party, and my party won the majority of seats at the next election. That's the real criteria, you know, as it is in the Constitution of the Bahamas. That is the real criteria. So anyone who meets those three criteria can be the Prime Minister of the Bahamas. Plain and simple.
I think we're forgetting one point, to me the most important point. What have you done for and on behalf of you people while you were in office to get things done? Okay, that's one of the requirements. How did you fare as a cabinet minister on behalf of the people? What did you bring to the table? What did you create? How many jobs did you create? What is your initiative that you injected into your ministry while you were there? He was there during the hurricane, I admit that. Some people say he was a pretty decent MP in his area. But you know, with the greatest respect, to compare him one-on-one with Philip Brave Davis, the qualifications, because he brought up his qualifications. He got an associate's degree, he got a regular degree, he got one certificate here and there. A man should be judged by what he has done, what has he accomplished in his lifetime in serving the people in any area of his life. Mr. Davis is one of our most qualified legal minds in the country and has a sterling reputation. He's a doer. Throughout the country, and especially in the Progressive Party, I refer to him as the go-to man. When you get a problem, you go to Philip Brave Davis and he helps you to sort it out. Remember too now, Philip Brave Davis was never asked to resign in any position he's ever held in this country. The Honorable Gentleman, who happens to be a cousin of mine from Ragged Island, was asked to resign from the Senate, which he did because of a situation that he encountered. Because he came and attacked me for no reason, you know. And when I went to my ministry, you know, I could say what I accomplished, and his ministry too, as agriculture, you know. But, you know, this thing about who did what is really what's in a man's heart, eh? What he's capable of getting done on behalf of people. Has he made a difference in the lives of the average, ordinary Bahamian? And that's what counts. The election is not going, it's coming. The people have a choice to make. It's either Philip Brave Davis or it's the good gentleman who we just saw just now with his qualifications.
And Shanique, Leslie, I'm not carrying water for Pintard. I'm not a member of the Free National Movement anymore, and I'm not involved in frontline politics in the Bahamas. But I know full well, having known the gentleman for 30 years, I've sat with him, I've worked with him and for him, like I said, and I've seen Pintard made an impact and a difference in the hearts and minds of people when he was out of politics.
When he was the minister of works responsible for BEC, we reduced the electricity rate by 30 to 40%. We reduced it under his command. We reduced it. He's always been a doer to get things done. And if you start their two track records together, you will see who comes out on top. They're assisting the Bahamian people and providing for them initiatives to better their lives. That's all I'm saying.
But gentlemen, I'm holding this up right here. I am holding this photograph up because after this break, you all see this? This here is, when we talked about this before, Leslie, we showed this photograph. This here is what has vexed Bahamians now for many months, in fact, maybe over a year. Bahamas Air flights coming full from Haiti 3 times a week, it is said. Well, Prime Minister Davis made an announcement on this. We talked about that last night in the show, if you all can remember. We'll tell you what he's saying today, right after this.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading cancer care and research networks from coast to coast, providing more of what you need. More locations means more care closer to home. More specialists means more expertise. More research means more breakthroughs. More advancements means more treatment options. And more options means more hope. Call now to get more of the care you need.
Crack the code and win $1 million. Crack the code and win $1 million.
7 numbers, $1 million. Every 3 days, a number is revealed. Act fast. Your million is waiting.
Crack that code, win $1 million clear.
Crack the code before the last lock clicks shut. Get ready to join the winner's circle only at islandluck.com.
Crack the code and win $1 million.
Beyond the Headlines is now introducing powerful TV advertising opportunities made just for you. Choose our television ad package, 20 30-second ads for $2,000 or 20 60-second ads for $2,500 plus VAT. Prefer flexibility? Go a la carte. Just $150 for a 30-second ad or $200 for a 60-second ad. Step into the spotlight with our interview package. 1 15-minute interview for $500 or 4 for $15 per month. Or bring Beyond the Headlines directly to you with our live on location package, only $2,600 plus VAT. For more information, contact our sales agent at 242-466-6173.
This segment is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Well, the Davis administration is looking at possibly tightening or banning for a period the granting of visas, especially to people from Haiti. Now, this is something we talked about last evening where well-placed sources informed Beyond the Headlines that this is what the administration would be looking into. Today, of course, you heard Prime Minister Davis actually come out and say this is being done. I am understanding, Leslie and Howard, that it is being strategically worked on. It's nothing to be rushed and done, but this is what they're doing. But I'll tell you, Turks and Caicos has taken similar strict measures. Absolutely. And so the Bahamas is nothing stopping the Bahamas for following suit. You all remember this photograph right here showing at LPIA, that's exactly where this is, at LPIA, hundreds of people a day, or perhaps each flight, coming in about 3 times a week. And it really was quite a vexing situation for Bahamas Air employees, for those, of course, working in the airport, and for Bahamians who saw the photographs when they went viral. The thing is, Bahamians feel labored and stressed by being inundated by the illegal immigration problem. And Leslie, on this show more than once, you've said, listen, put a moratorium on the further granting of any sort of status here in the Bahamas. Well, the Prime Minister again says that they are looking at visa and granting visas, particularly to people from Haiti. They're looking at putting a halt on that. I guess, gentlemen, it's to obviously reassess where we are and then to move forward smarter, yes?
Yes, exactly.
So Shanique, when you have a country where the illegal immigration problem is at a crisis stage, right? The biggest group of people that are your illegals in your country, you should be operating a restrictive visa policy on them from the beginning. This is a legacy problem. Now, Mr. Miller's a little older than me, so I know about this Haitian crisis thing through my family, but came into my own understanding it in the early to mid 90s when Aristide was the president of Haiti and then subsequently deposed, right? And from that point to now, that's the inflection point for me. Haiti has continued to be embroiled in turmoil and chaos.
Can't help yourself.
And that is why we keep getting the migrants, the illegal migrants coming into the Bahamas. We can't have a policy that's under consideration. When Dr. Minnis had everyone locked down during 2017 to 2021, and Mr. Davis was the leader of the opposition and planning to take over the government, every single possible option should have been accounted for in the manifesto that they would have put forward during their campaign so that it could be implemented immediately right now. The government shouldn't be feeling its way, but I applaud the efforts that Mr. Davis has been doing with trying to get this thing under control. Current issues and legacy issues. I must say, in all fairness, since Mr. Davis has come to office, things haven't been perfect. They've had their fair share of controversy. Some things have not been done properly, but I can say honestly, Shani, Mr. Davis has attempted to tackle every single problem, legacy and otherwise, that has plagued the Bahamian people since coming to office. But they cannot say, under consideration, and we may, you have to take a tougher stance, and it has to begin now, or this country is going to be lost forever.
Leslie, so Howard is saying they must take a stand now.
You know, it was the late, great Loftus Roker back in the 70s when he was Minister of Immigration, who was little hard, people used to say back then, on the migrants from Haiti, because he understood that back then there were some 7 million Haitians to less than 200,000 Bahamians. And if we kept up at that pace with them coming here, they were going to outnumber us. Now we only have one country called the Bahamas. Haiti is larger than New Providence or in that case, Andros, Eleuthera, any of the big islands is larger than us. They have approximately 9 to 10 million people. I think over the last 100 years, we have done our share in trying to assist our Haitian brothers and sisters. I have cousins who are Haitians. I love them as much as I love any of my cousins. We don't have any personal thing against them. It's the fact that we don't want no one to come here and override what we have, because we have Bahamians. Our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, Bahamians yet unborn, have a right to come to be born in this country that belongs to them and not be overpowered by a group of people who can't not get their act together in running a country. The world has given up. The Americans have given up on Haiti. Over the last, when I was Minister of Trade and Industry, from 2002 to 2007, the World Bank, the IMF, forgave their loan. I think we were in Kingston, Jamaica, for one of the meetings, and it was forgiven. Okay, under the presidency of not Jimmy Carter, jumping after Jimmy Carter, the Democrat, Clinton, Bill Clinton. He was here in the Bahamas. He forgave the loan. For some reason, I don't know. I don't want to say God has turned his back on him, but he ain't far. Maybe turn his shoulder on him. They cannot get it together. Those Bahamians who are here, like Willie Georges and the pastor who was on your show last week, I urge them to go back to Haiti. You have the intelligence, you have the intellect, you have the wherewithal now. You made good money in our country. Why don't you all go back and make Haiti the country that it could be? But you are here talking about we shouldn't send nobody back to Haiti. I take grave exception to that, sir. Grave exception.
What?
Grave exception. You don't have that right to tell us what to do. You have a country. We have a country. We don't try to migrate to your country. We love your people, but we cannot take the load any longer. Please, give us a break.
And Shanique, you know, the thing is too, though Mr. Miller,
Yes.
some of these issues that have plagued Haiti, the legacy issues, are the fault of the United States and the international community as well.
Absolutely.
If you look over the last 100 years, there's been interventions and there's been the assassinations of leaders who've
They
been
have killed
rising
every
up
one
in
of them.
Haiti
Everyone.
and taking their resources as well, doing
Yes.
it to take their resources.
Yes.
However, Haiti is a beautiful place outside of Port-au-Prince, you know.
Yes.
And I think that the government should also, in this exercise, where we're trying to get Haitians to go back to Haiti, those that are illegal and even those that were born
Illegal,
there and
yes.
love their country and are here, listen, we have to tout and we have to play up the other areas of Haiti that are beautiful, that are flourishing with restaurants and economies, small economies and businesses. And we have to show those images, and we have to make a pipeline possible so that they can see and understand that their country is beautiful and has an economy that they can build and develop to go back to as well.
And I think we need to appreciate that Bahamians don't hate Haitians. Okay? Do you know that in the Bahamas, we have more Haitian nationals residing in our country than all the countries in the Caribbean combined? All the countries in Central America combined. We cannot take it anymore. We only plead to you, especially Georges and these fellas who they got around here with hard about that order, Abaco, who curse Bahamians. I don't appreciate that, man. Curse us how dumb and stupid we are. But we ain't stupid no more. We smarter than y'all because we speak two languages. Take, you know what, and go back and speak 3 over there if you want to. But don't come and defame us. Don't try to belittle Bahamians for their intelligence. None of us appreciate that. And as a former member of parliament, minister of the government, I take gravest exception to that.
Yeah.
If Loftus Roker was alive today, or Arthur Dion Hanna, God bless him, or lived in Finland, that man would have been on the plane the next day. Hear me? He would not have been in this country today if they were here.
And so then there obviously is this very firm and strict call for our leaders of today to man up like those ones did in yesteryear.
Been gone.
And yesteryear, you can't come and defame a country.
Belittle us?
You can't come and defame a country.
What the hell do you think he's supposed to be?
But Shanique, why do we have a lax, I call it a lax, and this is across governments. Why would we have a tourist visa policy based on that picture where people can come in unabated? Yes. We know that we don't have the enforcement capabilities in the immigration department to track and monitor these people to make sure that at the end of the 30-day stay, the 60-day stay, the 2-week stay that they are given,
but
that they are going to depart the Bahamas.
We all know that most of them ain't going nowhere.
Absolutely.
Let's make that clear. Let's make that clear.
They
ain't going no damn place.
Gentlemen, you both are right.
Make that clear.
You're both are right because who does the follow-up to see where these people live?
Get real.
You cannot say you're going to live in
Only
streets.
an ass would believe that.
That's what I don't understand. So you have to take care of this problem from the front end. Letting them in.
Don't give them no visas.
Versus taking it at the back end, Shanique. Yeah. Do you know that in the United States of America, there are certain categories of visas that are closed to people from countries that are overpopulated, quote unquote, in the United States? So, for example, the most popular one that we know, the diversity visa lottery, which is known as the green card lottery.
Yeah.
Do you know that Chinese, Haitians, Jamaicans, and some other countries in Southeast Asia, they cannot put in applications for these visas because they have already met the max quotas in the United States population-wise. So those visa categories are close to them.
So even in the United States, Howard, there is this structure. The structure is this. We have enough of you all for now. You've met the quota or you've exceeded the quota. So therefore, it's closed to you for now. And so the Bahamas can easily do a similar thing.
Absolutely.
Or the very same thing.
What country on God's earth right now, the way the world is shaping up between east and west, north and south, would want to have more foreigners in that country to dictate to their future generations that we face today? And I'm telling you, within 30 years, if we don't stop it now, we're going to be gone. Realize that. Our grandchildren and great-grandchildren would come to our gravesite, okay, and ask us, why you didn't speak out for us, man? Why you left us like this? We have to do it now. The time is right now. And the policy got to be implemented right now to make the change that is necessary to save our future generations.
Well, you know, and it's funny because government after government have been stenching, dancing around and tiptoeing around this issue. Now is the time. And so Prime Minister, Prime Minister Davis, we are happy to hear you say what you said today. Now, sir, we await the actions. We await the actions of exactly what you said, that this temporary ban for however long it is supposed to last for will be imposed and enforced.
You want an example?
Yes, go ahead.
This young man here was born on the 1st of January, 2002 in Haiti.
Hold it up.
Yeah. The 1st of January, 2002. We don't know when he came to the Bahamas, right? But he got a Bahamian passport, 21st of February, 2022, which expires 21st of February, 2032. Now, when did he come here?
Wow.
This is a young man.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't born here.
Yeah.
He was born in Haiti.
Yeah.
It says right there. Okay? We don't have no obligation to give anyone citizenship based on them coming here or being born here.
No.
We don't have that obligation in our country.
No, there's no right.
And the new president, Trump,
that's right.
Has said Bahamians, and I know many of them, a couple of them sit in parliament with me years ago, every time the daughters get pregnant, by the time they get 7 months, they had a home in Miami, boom, go to Miami to make babies. Why? Cheap education. If push comes to shove, you could go over there. Trump said this makes no damn sense.
It doesn't, no.
And he stopped it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So don't tell me what we can't do. We are an independent country. We can do whatever is in the best interest of the people, of the Commonwealth, of the Bahamas. And I say to all members of Parliament, if you can't do it, you shouldn't be in there. Simple as that.
And that right there needs no additional word, verb, plural, nothing. Well said, Leslie. Well said.
You're prepared to do it?
Get on it.
Go home.
Absolutely, get on it. Stop playing around with our sovereignty. Yep. It's as simple as that. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to have some good news. You know, land is an issue around here, gentlemen. You all know somebody right now who is on a piece of property, especially if it's generational property, that they really have, it's useless. They can do nothing with. Well, that problem was solved for a group of Bahamians, and today they got the deeds to those property in their hands. We'll talk about that right after this.
My late husband, Tyrone Albury, had a passion for brewing beer at home. We found one of his recipes and we started on the stovetop with 1 gallon of beer. It was a hobby that turned into a passion project that turned completely out of control. We had to make a decision whether or not we were going to continue home brewing or open a brewery. So craft beer is basically brewing a very small batch of beer. Every individual batch of beer is going to be slightly different.
We're always trying to figure out what the next best beer is going to be.
Just the sheer amount of love and effort that goes into every brew. It's a science, really, to selecting the right grains and the hops, and then expanding on some of the normals.
Really, in the last couple of years, we've had a lot more of the locals that have found our location.
They realize that there is a fuller flavor beer out there, and we take pride in that. When we first started the concept of the brewery and we were looking for funding, it was the SBDC that we leaned on to help me push through at times when I wanted to give up, to tell me when I was making mistakes, and for that, I am grateful. So I would encourage all entrepreneurs, if you're looking for funding, mentorship, and encouragement to launch your new business idea, I would encourage you to contact the SBDC.
Are you ready to take the next step in growing your business? Check your eligibility for our guaranteed loan program at sbdcbahamas.com/GLP or call 461-7232 to learn more about how the SBDC can support your business.
So you want a space, but not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
Beyond the Headlines is now introducing powerful TV advertising opportunities made just for you. Choose our television ad package, 20 30-second ads for $2,000 or 20 60-second ads for $2,500 plus VAT. Prefer flexibility? Go a la carte. Just $150 for a 30-second ad or $200 for a 60-second ad. Step into the spotlight with our interview package. 1 15-minute interview for $500 or 4 for $15 per month. Or bring Beyond the Headlines directly to you with our live on location package, only $2,600 plus VAT. For more information, contact our sales agent at 242-466-6173.
This segment is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
We look forward to welcoming you on Beyond the Headlines. Of course, take advantage of our packages. Our sales and marketing team members are waiting to work with you and help you get your business, your event, whatever it is that needs public's attention. This is the spot to make it happen. And of course, in this political season, if you're a political organization or your candidates or anything to do with politics that you want to bring greater attention to, this is the spot and the platform to help make that happen. Call and reach out to our sales and marketing team. They are ready to get you with a wonderful package and get you started here on this show. And so, of course, we look forward to welcoming you. Please do reach out. Leslie, I'll tell you before we go into this segment, someone said, listen, Leslie, now you were saying the PLP should not run anybody in Killarney. Let Doc just have his way. They're asking the viewers right now, asking, do you still hold that position after Doc's slap up tonight?
That's fine. Yeah, I said what I say. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. I'm still sticking with it.
Okay, very good. You got your answer. Well, listen, gentlemen, an issue that's plagued Bahamians for decades has been resolved for more than 24 Nasuvians. It's the issue of land ownership and titles. A title presentation ceremony marking new beginnings for long-time residents in an eastern community whose journey towards land ownership was marked by unrest, threats, and oftentimes hopelessness. Well, Jose Etienne has more on this report, and then we come back and talk about it.
It's great. Words gotta explain the joy you bring, to have my own land papers.
No more headaches for longtime Foxhill resident Malkazam Brister and 23 other deep-rooted families in the eastern community who got their land titles on Tuesday night, making them official owners of properties they've been on for decades. It all started when their dreams to acquire land evolved into a nightmare that at times turned violent.
One time I got in a fight. So I say enough is enough.
Among the recipients breathing a sigh of relief, 79-year-old Reverend Laura Glinton, who inherited generational property in Foxhill in the 1980s, but the inheritance seemingly a double-edged sword, bringing wealth and worries.
Sleepless nights, battling with people saying they own the property. Oh man, I could sleep good tonight.
Glinton's daughter, Denise Roker, who now resides on that property, also recalling how mentally and financially draining the entire process was up until there was finally light at the end of the tunnel.
They brought the police and magistrate was there. We went to the lawyers, paid all sorts of monies, like plenty money, and it just nothing never materialized.
But after last night,
I have 2 daughters, so it's going to stay.
That's 4 generations.
Yeah.
The ceremony was the end result of Housing Minister Keith Bell acting on his power to acquire land through compulsory acquisition and then give it back to landowners for a nominal fee. The area's Member of Parliament, Fred Mitchell, contending that the ceremony isn't really a political event, simply a promise fulfilled.
There was a list of promises made by the Progressive Liberal Party for this community. One of the promises on that list was to deal with people who were having a problem with title to land, in the sense that they had been in continuous occupation of the land But whenever it came time to develop the land, they didn't have the ability to go to the bank because there wasn't a clear and marketable title.
Land disputes, unfortunately, is a vexing issue that's not limited to Fox Hill. I'm standing here in the Baintown community where Bell says for many residents, it's a real pain point. And so is relief within arm's length for those being impacted.
We're looking at doing it in the same thing at the Family Islands and other areas as well.
And Bell has Prime Minister Philip Davis's support.
We are creating a fair system where land rights disputes are resolved clearly, where records are properly kept, where families are not left in limbo.
Jose Etienne, Eyewitness News.
But gentlemen, you all heard this. This is something that is hugely important to people in Fox Hill, in Gambia, and in Eleuthera, and Exuma, and just Mayaguana. The thing is, land ownership and this generational property, living on a piece of property for years but not actually having the title for it, has plagued so many Bahamian families. And it's good to see those people have their matter sorted out by an act, I forgot the exact term, that the Minister of Housing took. But I imagine this is really just the beginning of a journey that so many Bahamian families find themselves in.
You know, this is an age-old problem in our country. I can't tell you over the years, being a member of Parliament, how many of my constituents and their family members have been crying in the wilderness with this land situation. It's a hell of a thing. The family island is worse. Because first of all, I always tell them, you have a title deed? No.
Nope.
But we was on the land, Mr. Miller, for about 200 years. My father, my grandfather, doesn't mean a damn thing. If you got title deeds, you can't take it to the bank to borrow one single penny. This is a wonderful thing for the Prime Minister and Mr. Mitchell, and especially my good friend, the Minister responsible, Keith Bell, has done a wonderful job, one of the really top lawyers in this country, and a man with a heart that does things on behalf of the Bahamian people. There's so much people that are hurting today. People went to their grave crying that they could never get their land papers sorted out. I mean, many families are hurting like that, still hurting. I hope the government would expand that situation to all of the Bahamas.
Yeah, because it's not just
every
those
should
ones,
really be able to get a piece of the rock, eh? And there's no reason why we can't look at islands like Andros, like Eleuthera, like Long Island, where there's a vast abundance of land, and Bahamians can't get an acre of land on a place like those family islands that have so much land available. Because we give a lot of land to the foreigners when they come in here. With these situations, but you know, are they going to build a boutique hotel and they need 150 acres of land, and the hotel takes up 2 acres of land, and the rest they turn into subdivision and sell them for $1 million a lot. We need to really reconsider whose land it is and provide Bahamians with those documents to make them feel that they are part of our country, because this is all we got. This is all God gave us, one place called the Bahamas. And all of us should be able to live in decency, know that we have roof over our heads, that the cost of living would be something reasonable, that we can afford to feed our children, send them to school. And land is so valuable because land is generational wealth. Remember, that's the one thing that our white brothers and sisters have above us. Between 1962 and 67, the fellas gathered around the UBP and had meetings among themselves, and they decided that, listen, these black Bahamians done find their head. We can't win no more, because the PLP got something more than 10,000 votes than them. So they know they couldn't win in 67. No, they did. They started on giving themselves the land. You go in any area of New Providence and see who the owners of any land is. Wade, Hello, Carmichael Road, Adelaide, in the Family Islands, see who got them. All white Bahamian families own the land. That was given to them for little or nothing. In many cases, nothing at all. And it's time that someone step to the plate and do likewise what they did, because land is wealth, generational wealth. That's what you leave to your children,
but I also want that,
members.
Leslie, and that's a point you raised, but I also want addressed by the same measure that Minister Keith Bell took, the fact that Bahamians go and squat on other people's land, take ownership of it, and therefore even stopping the rightful owners of ever acquiring any title deed. So all of this mix-up conch salad needs to be addressed and righted.
Yes.
Yes.
They're very dishonest people who go and do that intentionally.
And they sell
and not
land
just
over and
Asians.
over and over again.
That's
now.
another thing.
Them damn crooks.
Absolutely.
Yes.
They sell
And
land
that's why
20
the
times.
legacy problems need to be fixed. And
Yes.
This is enough. Yeah, and I agree with
Enough.
all of what Leslie said.
Andres got
Because
over a
this-
million
this-
acres of land,
This
man.
is this has
Come
been
on.
a problem in Elutra. I'm from Elutra.
Yeah,
I've seen
come
it
on.
tear families apart. Even families fighting over land, Shanique. Even families not speaking to each other, going to their
Exactly.
graves, dying, fighting over land and who owns and who has proper title or who doesn't. And so you have to applaud in this moment. You have to applaud the Davis administration for
Wonderful
the
job.
responsivity of government, for being so responsive. This is also a legacy
Yes.
problem. This is another legacy problem that we're talking about, where land ownership is in question. It's a gray area. And I am so happy. I mean, it did my heart good to see these Bahamians, because whatever criteria we use for citizenship, descent, and birth, and all of these things, I believe it's cemented by your ownership of your land.
Remember, land is your
Ownership
greatest
of land
asset, you know.
cement. It
Land is your
cements
greatest
your
asset.
citizenship. And it's a great thing that these people were able to get their title, and they are now
Yes, man.
able to say
God
that
bless
they
them.
own a piece
God
of
bless
the
them.
rock. So I applaud them.
You know,
I'm happy for them this
Howard,
evening.
you said
God bless
earlier
him.
about the legacy issues that the Davis administration is doing. This is one of them. This is one of them that's extremely vexing. And I'll tell you this, here's a question. By the way, hello to you, Percy. Thank you for watching. And he's enjoying tonight's show. This is from Italy. Ask Leslie if the government will ever allow Bahamians to stop paying lease for land while foreigners can come and squat on very similar pieces of land for free.
Brother, I couldn't agree with you more. I hope it stopped now. Like right now tonight. You know, like now. Ain't no argument there.
Yep.
Can't argue that.
And again, that's why it's vexing, and that is why that it leads back to that immigration problem, and not just the fingers pointed at Haitians either.
No,
you know, there are
love
others
them
who
because
come
we
and
love them.
squat, who come and squat and build wonderful homes, but then turn around and lease it as Airbnb and then say no, that's their friends and family visiting. Like, it's just so much to be cleaned up by the nation, and it can't happen all at once. And again, legacy issues that's been lingering for years. Yes, Howard?
And Shanique, just like you said, there's some Bahamians involved too. You also have some of our brothers and sisters in the legal profession.
Yes, exactly that.
People who handing out 3 and 4 different sets
Exactly.
of people titled to the same piece of property. That is also a part of the problem that giving clear title to people who deserve it is helping with. And so I'm pleased, because now that these people have clear title to their property, no one can come and contest them. No one can come and take their land from them. And so I hope and pray that successive governments, the Davis administration, if they're elected again, and successive governments that come after the Davis administration, if it is not, they continue this policy, because that stop, review, and cancel foolishness. We need to get out of that.
They got to
The
stop
Davis
that.
administration has something in place, and they have to leave office because they are voted out. Continue sensible policies, man, and stop doing foolishness, so that you can take credit for things that's not going to work.
Well, if you go with Penton, he shows up to stop and cancel. I promise you that.
That ain't going nowhere.
That's their policy. Stop and cancel.
Leave it in place. Leave it in place if it's working.
Yes. Gentlemen, Justin, can I go on to this other story? I mean, I think we can quickly get into this. A flight bound for the United Kingdom was forced to make a stop here in the Bahamas after tensions between passengers nearly turned physical. In fact, I think there was some little pushing and stuff going on.
It's good for Bahamas Air.
No, not Bahamas Air. This is another airline. Let's hear from Linton Ritchie, and then we'll come back and quickly talk about that.
Oh, God.
Nearly 72 hours of delays and travel chaos finally came to an end this morning as 340 passengers aboard a TUI Airlines flight took off from Nassau, landing in Manchester, England Wednesday evening. But that landing was supposed to happen Monday morning. What followed was a string of mid-air chaos, mechanical issues, and frustrated passengers, with Lynden Pinland International Airport becoming the airline's unlikely saving grace. With tensions hitting an all-time high, thousands of feet up into the air, pilots had no choice but to land here at LPIA. But what was supposed to be a few hours of delay turned into an unexpected 3 days. The flight first diverted to Nassau after reports of a drunken passenger on board. Wales Online reporting that the aircraft was forced to dump tons of fuel into the Atlantic for a safe descent, but that emergency move caused issues with the fuel system.
The captain reported a cockpit error. The local engineers came and were unable to fix the issue. The flight was officially canceled.
Passenger Emma Louise Hammer shared her frustration on Facebook Live, calling the delay a massive inconvenience and accusing airport officials of poor communication.
By the time we got the suitcases, messed about with immigration because the airport was shut, they had to bring people in, and got us to the hotel. It was 3 o'clock in the morning.
Nassau Flight Services General Manager Ricardo Rule tells Eyewitness News the situation stemmed from the unplanned landing, which created logistical hurdles.
We used whatever crew we had working the British Airways flight that night. In addition to working our British flight, we had to send a crew over there to start taking the bags off because the flight was canceled.
But the troubles didn't end there. When passengers returned Monday afternoon expecting to depart, a mechanical failure kept them grounded again. Engineers had to fly in a replacement part from London, while stranded travelers said tensions at LPIA were reaching a boiling point.
As you can see, it's all kicking off. This is absolutely horrendous, and you're going to have a full-scale riot. The security now coming in to arrest people. This is absolutely horrendous.
After a second cancellation, passengers were spread across hotels, including Comfort Suites and Breezers All-Inclusive. The replacement part arrived Tuesday night, allowing the flight to finally depart Wednesday. TUI Airlines has since issued compensation vouchers worth £520 per passenger, but the airline is reportedly facing losses of more than £300,000 from the ordeal. Linton Ritchie Jr., Eyewitness News.
Well, gentlemen, I thought this story was quite interesting, and we talked about it earlier when Linton and I spoke, as we would normally do earlier in the day. And because we just saw something in a U.S. airline from one part of the U.S. to the next, where another passenger, drunk and being silly in tens of thousands of feet up in the air, was agitating, and I guess with the stewardess and with a number of people. And a man went, lift him up and sat him down. But that aircraft too was forced to land before its destination. Of course, this really was no fault of the Bahamas, nothing to do with us. The fact is, it's just people were so agitated and things got very rowdy at LPIA. And so, gentlemen, I'll tell you, these things do happen. And I know they were complaining that nobody was there to receive them, but we had to be there because we didn't know y'all were coming. But quickly jump in, guys, about all these just anger and vexedness in the air.
We should thank God for the fact that it did happen, because when the plane came here, the next day they were supposed to leave, then they discovered
mechanical issues?
That they had mechanical issues, and then to get apart from London. What if those persons on that plane would have headed to London and not turned around? Might have lost a lot of lives, so thank God that it didn't happen. It's unfortunate that it did, and you really got to be more suspectful of having people on the plane who's intoxicated or somebody just want to be a pain. I think we've learned something from this, and we should thank the Bahamas government and people who work at our airport for doing such a wonderful job in accommodating those people, and the hotels here who accommodate them with no notice. So I think we did a wonderful job on behalf of Bahamian people. But these things should not happen, and I thank God that the plane did not try to go to London, and we could have lost so many lives.
Shanique, I think these people that cause disruptions and are inebriated on airplanes. Well, first of all, you got to settle down with the alcohol on the planes.
Yes.
The amounts that you allow people to consume, that needs to be discretionary by the airline staff, the aircraft staff. Okay, you have to have the discretion and use the good judgment to say this fella had enough. This man can't take more than one cocktail. And that's what you need to do. But when you have to divert a plane, don't let this person get back on another plane.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. They should never be able to fly for at least a couple of years. Suspend them from flying.
Exactly, he should be right here tonight.
3 years suspension.
In the country where that plane
yes,
had to
yes.
land.
3 years suspension.
Before the court, because look at the snowball effect that it caused. for the passengers that needed to go
Yes.
elsewhere.
Yes.
Like Leslie said,
Yeah.
it was great that they didn't go because of mechanical failure. But look
Lost
at
a
the
lot of
snowball
lives.
effect, the negativity that it caused
Yes.
as a result of that for the
Yeah.
airline, for those passengers. So you have to charge them before the courts. That's what the angel on my shoulder is saying.
Yeah.
Now the devil on my shoulder is saying something else. I
know.
remember in
But
the
he could have get top up too. He could have get. I would say it. He could have get top up.
I appreciate that.
They had a house of, there's an urban legend in the Bahamas that there was a bus called the House of Pain that used to have the strike force and CID fellas in it. And it used to ride around and pick up fellas off the streets and beat them.
Exactly.
Sounds very reasonable. Sounds very reasonable.
The old days.
The House of Pain bus.
Yeah.
Yes, sounds very reasonable. Listen, I thank you gentlemen so much for hanging out all hour long, of course giving your analysis and opinions on some of the stories that were making news and trending today. I thank you so much, Leslie Miller here, Howard Johnson,
Pleasure
of course,
to be here.
joining us via Zoom. Thank you both very much. And I want to say a big thank you to all of you for your messages, your input, your participation, of course, and for watching as well. Thank you very much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.